For this occupational therapy portfolio topic, I'm going to be running through the BMAT, also known as the Banner Mobility Assessment Tool. And this tests for balance and fall risk, and also just kind of running through what mobility level is safe for my patient, what are they capable of, and what are they allowed to do. So there are 4 levels, and I'm going to run through each of the levels. So for level 1, I'm going to have my patient from a semi-reclined position come to a seated position at the edge of the bed. Okay, and it's important to note that your patient is able to sit in this position for at least 2 minutes. I'm next going to have them reach across their body to shake my hand. Important to make sure they are crossing midline. And I'm going to make sure to do that on both sides, as crossing midline on both sides is important. So if my patient is able to do that, great. They have passed. This is considered level 1. So once they pass level 1, we can move on to level 2. So for level 2, what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you extend one of your knees. So you're going to straighten one of your knees, and then you're going to point your toes. Fantastic. Back down to the floor. And then my patient is not in a cast or has no reason to not be able to do this on the other leg as well. So we're going to go ahead and do it with the other leg. And point your toe. Fantastic. Back down to the floor. So this was level 2. If my patient was unable to pass level 2, they would go back down to a level 1, which level 1 means that they are a dependent patient. And that at a level 1, this patient is unable to move or transfer themselves. But my patient was able to pass level 2, so now we can go on to mobility level 3. For mobility level 3, what I'm going to do is have my patient stand and lift their bottom off the bed for 5 seconds. Fantastic. So my patient was able to stand for 5 seconds. And if my patient was unable to do this, they would go down to a level 2. Level 2 is a moderately dependent patient, and if they were a level 2, this patient can come to a sitting position but cannot stand or transfer. But my patient was able to pass level 3, so we can move on to a level 4. For level 4, what I'm going to have you do first is we're just going to go ahead and march in place. And what I'm looking for is to make sure that my patient's entire foot is clearing the floor, toes including. Okay? So I'm actually going to come on this side of you for this part, so I'm not by the table. Okay, so for this part, what we're going to do is we're going to take one of our feet and we're going to place it forward, and we're going to shift our weight onto that forward foot. We're going to shift our weight back on that back foot and come back. Then with the other foot, we're going to step forward, shift that weight forward, shift the weight backward, and come back. Fantastic. So my patient was able to pass mobility level 4, but if they weren't able to pass, they would have to go down to a level 3. A level 3 patient is minimal assistance required. This patient can bear weight and may require assistive devices, but because my patient was able to pass level 4, they are considered mobility level 4. This patient is considered independent. This patient can move and transfer themselves and requires no patient handling assistance. 2 things to note is that before you do the BMAT, it's important to note that your patient doesn't have any other conditions that are stopping them from being able to do the BMAT safely, and that any sort of mobility is safe for them at that point. And you also want to note that assistive devices are allowed to be used during the BMAT, so before I would even start the BMAT, I would get the assistive device needed. So this is the BMAT.